Next, we will take up item number 11, and I will call on Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, President Payne. Colleagues, I want to begin by reminding us why this item is before us today. On May 25th, 2020, the Minneapolis Police Department murdered George Floyd in the Porterhorn Park neighborhood located on 38th.
Point of order here. The Minneapolis Police Department did not kill him. An individual did.
An officer knelt on his neck.
Mr. Rainville, or Councilmember Rainville, let Councilmember Chavez finish.
I'll restart my remarks because it still stands. I want to begin by reminding us why this item is before us today. On May 25th, 2020, the Minneapolis Police Department murdered George Floyd in the Porterhorn Park neighborhood located on the 38th and Chicago corridor. An officer knelt on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds and without any regard for human life. This led to a worldwide racial reckoning and mass protests across the globe over police brutality and a demand for justice and accountability. It was a day where many of us will remember where we were at, and it's a day that many of us will never forget. I was 6 blocks away from this tragic murder when it happened, living in my apartment. And today I am speaking on behalf of a big portion of the community that has gone unheard and unnoticed. A community who feels the pain from the lack of action on police accountability and reform from this administration, and a community that believes in a vision that is comprehensive and respects the dignity of the area. And I believe that we can still accomplish that. This vote should be more than just about infrastructure, and it should not gloss over or erase what happened here. It should be about healing, growth, and honoring the voices of those who advocate for progress. Unfortunately, that's not the case. In the immediate aftermath of George Floyd's murder, the Minneapolis Police Department said that he died after a medical incident during an interaction with police. That was false. If it wasn't for the bravery of Darnella Frazier, who recorded the murder of George Floyd, I do not believe there would be any justice served. She said, "Even though this was a traumatic, life-changing experience for me, I'm proud of myself. If it weren't for my video, the world wouldn't have known the truth. I own that. My video didn't save George Floyd, but it put his murderer away and off the streets." That video made sure the city would not do business as usual. I think about her words when I am taking this vote today, and a reminder of why we are here and what needs to happen moving forward. George Floyd Square is a place for community, for reflection, for activism, and a place and a call to action to combat racism in Minneapolis and across the nation. And I believe that we have one shot to get this right. This area is in the corner. This area and this corner has brought visitors from all over the world, and it is significant to residents in the area who are deeply impacted and still are. Residents bring flowers, offerings, and pay respects to people who have fallen to police brutality, and I think we need to keep that in mind when we are voting today. When we talk about making Nicollet Mall a pedestrian mall, I want us to be able to talk about making George Floyd Square a pedestrian mall. I hear about the need to move forward. I do agree with that sentiment. And I also hear about the need to address the comprehensive needs of neighbors, along with any infrastructure improvements to prevent the displacement of current residents in the area. I 100% agree with that statement as well. That is why I'm bringing forward a resolution expressing statements of positions pertaining to the future of George Floyd Square. Specifically, it is showing support for the pedestrian plaza concept, one of the 3 models presented by Public Works, which allows for vehicular access to local residents and businesses only, while maintaining access for emergency vehicles. And I believe this is still us moving forward. I'll read the resolution so the public can hear it, since you probably don't know what is included on it, but it's expressing statements of positions pertaining to George Floyd Square. That the City Council supports the pedestrian content plan, that the City Council supports the establishment of a pedestrian plaza to the extent permitted and in compliance with Minnesota statutes in conjunction with the street improvement, that the pedestrian plaza concept is developed, that as the pedestrian plaza concept is being developed, the City Council supports the community of George Floyd Square, the residents, businesses, and extended community, and the family of George Floyd, using the existing Community Vision Council to create a comprehensive vision for George Floyd Square that is community-led and includes the permanent memorial to George Floyd, the People's Way, the right-of-way, and that this vision could be presented as a pathway forward to the City Council by June 2025. To be clear, this is meant to go in tangent with the recommendation of the pedestrian mall, and as we work towards that. That the City Council supports additional traffic calming measures in the areas where vehicular traffic is displaced near George Floyd Square. That the City Council supports exploring alternative transportation options to increase disability justice near George Floyd Square. That the City Council supports immediate aesthetic improvements and increased trash collection at George Floyd Square. that the City Council supports an immediate truth and reconciliation process that addresses truth-telling, accountability, resilience, restorative actions, and healing in the George Floyd Square area, that the City Council supports attending to the comprehensive needs of neighbors like housing, economic justice, and basic necessities, along with any infrastructure improvements to prevent the displacement of current residents and improve their lives, that the City Council supports establishing a multi-jurisdictional task force with the City of Minneapolis, Hennepin County, the State of Minnesota to evaluate immediate solutions for housing, economic development, healing in the 38th Street corridor and surrounding neighborhoods, to review the 24 demands and discuss the implementation of the 38th Street Thrive Strategic Development Plan. That the City Council supports a racial justice and healing center in the 38th Street Cultural District, and that the City Council supports appropriating city funding towards the implementation of the 38th Street Thrive Strategic Development Plan. I will also be moving to refer item 11.1 back to committee, which is considering the concept layout for the 38th Street and Chicago Avenue George Floyd Square concept that is considered open and flexible. And I will also be moving to refer item 11.2 back to committee, which is considering authorization for negotiations with the property owners to acquire easements and additional right-of-way if necessary for the project. This will allow us to take the appropriate actions moving forward to make a pedestrian mall at George Floyd Square. My original intention was to bring forward the pedestrian concept forward today along with this resolution. However, after speaking with the city attorneys, if council would like to create a pedestrian mall as part of George Floyd Square, there would be other actions necessary to move this forward together, including a notice of intent that we will introduce at the next council meeting. To be clear, this resolution is supporting a pathway forward. I am saying that we will be building a pedestrian mall moving forward, but we will also be hearing from community to address the concerns that they have about livability, about housing, about economic development, making sure that we put investments into developing the 38th Street Thrive Corridor, which is a historical corridor that deserves support along with the residents in the area. And I would be honored to receive the support of my colleagues today.